Hey everybody, I hope you're doing good today. I wanted to talk a little bit more about silver today, as it's just been on my mind a lot. The significance of silver, just even from a biblical standpoint. And I want to trace back to a few days ago. I was getting my kids, and I was just asking the Lord, I was like, God, you've had me invested in several things right now. Where do I go now? What do I do? What do I do as we are still waiting in expectancy of these dreams, these words to come to pass? And what do I do right now? Where should I be putting my resources to be a good steward of what you've given me? And it's just, God, like, please help me. I'm asking, please show me where to go with this. So I pick up my kids from school, and then about 20 minutes later, I go to the store. And I walk past the Coinstar in the store, and I have a habit of when I'm in a store, I go check the Coinstar reject tray. So any coins you pour in there and they spit them out in the bottom, I go and look. And because I know more often than not, some of the older coinage, particularly the coinage that was minted in silver, gets rejected because of its diameter and its density is different from our modern day money. And so I always check. It's a fun little game I have, and every time I find something, I know God is just, he's smiling down on me, he's winking at me, he's just, I'm just being like a child. And so I go and check this Coinstar, and there were several coins in it. There's a bunch of old copper pennies in it. There were a couple of little car wash tokens in it. And I also found some old 90% silver coinage. Found this dime, I found this quarter, and surprisingly, I also found a 1965 dime, which isn't silver. So it was a little odd that it got spit out, but it made me think about my dream that I had with the 1965 quarter that I saw, and how in the dream it was silver, except for a really small notch around the edges of it. But the coin itself was silver, and I know that 1965 coinage is not minted in silver because we stopped minting them in silver in 1964. Don't get me wrong, they look a lot alike. They look very similar, but I'm trying to show it to you guys. You can see the silver is more of a white, and the nickel-plated copper is a little darker. And so I took that as a confirmation from the Lord. All right, okay, God, silver it is. I'm gonna invest in silver this month. For anyone who's gonna comment on this video, they're gonna ask me about Luna. Do I have any updates? I don't have any updates about Luna Classic. I have what I have. I do have all of my sell orders set for Luna Classic, and it is now just sitting there. I am not staking my Luna Classic. I do not have it off the exchange, as what I've seen in dreams is my sell orders were filled, and for them to be filled, they need to be on the exchange. Take that before the Lord. I'm just telling you that that's all I really know about Luna Classic right now. No real updates, which is fine because God has shown me enough, and he's given countless confirmations. And so be encouraged in knowing that you're in the right place and that you're not a second late. Now, getting back to the silver, it's very interesting to me that a machine can decipher which coins are real and which coins are fake. But in this instance, I'm gonna reel it back to when we quit minting our coins in 1964 in silver. And then 1965, we were no longer minting in silver, except for the exception of some of the Kennedy half dollars. I think that's when they started minting them in 40% silver, but those were less common, and they started using less silver in those. But what I felt like the Lord revealed to me is the deception of our money system, and how it was very, very what's the correct word for this? I'll just say it is very deceptive how we switched our money, and we had gotten used to an appearance of a coin. And if you don't look too closely at these coins, you really can't tell the difference, because they use the same face, they use the same words. The only thing that really changed was the dates. And if you don't have a side-by-side comparison to show real silver from a fake look-alike, you wouldn't really know the difference. But from 1964 to 1971, that was a 7-year period, and that would signify completion. And in 1971, that is when we officially came off of the gold standard. And so it started with our coins in 1964, where we quit minting the coins. And it was a 7-year period to where they eventually took our entire monetary system off any type of gold backing. And so from then on, we got used to a counterfeit. We got used to a fake money, a money that could be manipulated, a money that could be minted, printed, digitally adding zeros just over and over again. We could issue debt out of thin air because we did not have to back it up to something physical that would at least be a hedge against any type of manipulation of money. You can't manipulate these. This is honest weight and measure. This is one of the few things, really, prior to fiat currency, gold and silver were always money. And based on the research I've done, silver was in fact the first metal to be used as currency. Going into Christ, I had this question with the Lord the other day, and something that stuck out to me is when he was born, the wise men brought him gold. Yeah, they brought frankincense and myrrh as well, but they brought him gold in his birth. And however, silver was used to betray him in his death. So his beginning started with gold and his end started with silver. And I thought that was really just fascinating. And then my question was to the Lord, why silver to betray our Lord and not gold? And how precious was the Son of Man? Well, silver in ancient times was recognized as a white metal. That's what they call it. It was a white metal. In early dialects, they would call it the white metal. They didn't quite have the name silver for it yet. And it's very reflective. In fact, it's used in mirrors, and it has very reflective properties to it. Well, Jesus is a reflection of our Father. He's God in the flesh. And silver's a white metal. And white represents Christ and his desire to cleanse every sinner. And we go a little further. Why the 30 pieces of silver? Why was he betrayed for 30 pieces of silver? Well, 30 pieces of silver at that time was the price of a slave. And prior to his death, prior to him dying on the cross, we were a slave to sin. We were under the law, and we were a slave to sin. Well, after the cross, after Calvary, his resurrection, we were no longer a slave to sin. We just had to accept Christ. And so he paid the price of sin, the slave of sin, and he was sold over to the Jewish hierarchy as a slave, as the price of a slave. And so to me, there is a very significant standpoint with silver, how our Father feels about it, and how it's even been oppressed and manipulated. And if you ask most Christians, you ask most people, and you're like, hey, do you have any silver? Like, why would I own silver? We just don't fully understand that, because we've gotten used to the counterfeit currency. This works for us, except it's not worth as much as it was. This 1965 dime can't buy what it did in 1965. And so I believe there's a significant message about silver. I believe there's a reason why I've received so many dreams on silver. I need to go through my dream journal, but I've received a dream on silver where silver was very high priced. I had converted, when I had this dream, I had this dream like 2.5 years ago. I was in like Japan or China or both in the dream. And I went to a kiosk and I had like a handful, not really a handful, I had about 5 or 6 quarters, which comes out to roughly an ounce of silver. And in the dream, it was worth 20,000 yen or 20,000 won. And at the time, I'm going off memory now because I don't have my paper with me with this dream. But at the time when I had woken up from that dream, I looked up the conversion of that price of silver. I saw that whether it was yen or won, an ounce of silver was worth between almost $700, close to $3,000, or somewhere in the 2,000 range. And that was roughly just 5 or 6 quarters. That was an ounce of silver approximately. And so I've seen silver rise to a high price in dreams. The timeline of that, it doesn't matter, but there is something significant about silver that our Father is trying to speak to us about. And so I have a visual representation here. I had a couple people asking about silver. And none of this is financial advice. And by any means am I the most well-educated on silver either. I would call myself more of a hobbyist who has just taken an interest in it after the Lord had revealed some things to me about it. And so if you are looking to buy silver, like what should you buy initially? Oh, and one thing too, when I mentioned that Coinstar, that's a free means of getting silver, y'all. If people, it doesn't take you any time to walk past a Coinstar when you go in the store and look in that reject tray. Yeah, people might think, oh man, this person's looking for spare change. God bless them. Well, no, I'm looking for reject silver, and I'm okay if you think I'm broke because I don't have pride issues. So if you're looking for a means of finding some free silver, go check your local Coinstar. Back to purchasing silver. What is appropriate for you? Well, you take that before the Lord. What's appropriate for you, how much you should buy, and what you should buy. There's a lot of different size increments you can work with. You could go as far as fractional silver, which would be like a silver dime. And it takes about 14 of these to create an ounce of silver. So this is just a couple grams of 90% silver. You can go upwards to quarters, old constitutional 90% silver. There's scrap silver, scrap sterling, old jewelry, plated silver. You really don't want to mess with plated silver, but sterling. And then you have bullion, which is mainly what you're going to see here. And you've got 1 ounce bullion, which is smaller transactions. And a lot of people look at silver as a means of bartering, and it may come to that point. I've never had dreams of bartering silver. I've looked at it more as wealth preservation and being prepared for when a reevaluation of silver takes place, because I know it's severely undervalued, and I know with all the money printing that has happened over the past decades, silver needs to be reevaluated. So you have 1 ounce silver, you even have ½ ounce silver, going up to, this would be a 2 ounce silver. Yeah, it's a silver bullet. I thought it was kind of cool when I bought it. There's like 3 ounce silvers. These are just some fun pieces. I wouldn't really invest in these just because the premiums are a little higher. But then you have like 5 ounce silver. That's a nice weight. It's not too big. It's a means of transacting with. You've got 10 ounce silver. So these would be silver bars. I really like Scottsdale. I like that they use the Lion of Judah. I like that it says, "In God we trust." I really like the 10 ounce bars because they have interlocking edges, and so they call these stackers, and so they stack really neat. Then you have 20 ounce bars. This is called a Scottsdale Kit Kat. This would be a kilo bar, so it's 32.15 troy ounces. That's a couple pounds of silver. And then you have 100 ounce bars. And yeah, there are some larger bars, but unless you're like a precious metals dealer, you're not really going to transact in larger than 100-ounce bars. But you know, there might be some people in the comments who actually have like some 500-ounce, 1,000-ounce bars, and that's awesome. I couldn't personally do that. But as a means for what's appropriate for you, if you don't have any exposure to silver, what I did is I started with smaller increments first. I started with the fractional stuff, the 1 ounces, the half ounces, the 2 ounces, the 5, 10 ounces. That's pretty much what I stuck with. And then I wanted more exposure, and I didn't want to pay as high of premiums. And so when people talk about silver premiums, the premium is the price above the spot price. The spot price is not an accurate representation of actual silver price. It's the price they use to suppress the price of silver on the markets. These large banks and hedge funds that short the price of silver. And so you have the spot price, and then you have the premium, which is the price above spot. And that varies right now. I think at the time of this video, I haven't checked silver today, but the last time I checked, it was around $19 spot. And in the groups that I'm in, I've seen you can get stuff for around 24 an ounce. Might be able to get it for 22.50 an ounce. And if you're like buying silver eagles, you're gonna pay like 30 something an ounce right now. And so present that to the Lord. But I do believe he is trying to show us more about silver, and he's trying to get us ready. And I do encourage you to watch my Wall Street Dream. And that was another thing, is I received a double confirmation that day when I was asking the Lord personally, like, God, what should I be investing in right now? And then someone had commented on one of my Wall Street Dreams with a very similar interpretation that I had already had. And so I received that it was confirming the interpretation that I had. And I thought it was very interesting timing that someone was finally commenting on that dream, because that dream's not very new. It's been on there for months. And I encourage you guys to watch the Wall Street Dream that I had. And our Father is speaking to us. Be encouraged in your other anything you've invested in, you felt led to. I do still own my Luna Classic. I believe what I believe about it. I have my sell orders set all the way down from a penny, around that 10-cent mark, upwards to $1.26, and I even threw some obnoxious ones up there, around $10. Present it to the Lord. You know, I felt like I had more to say, but I hope that this was somewhat beneficial to some of y'all who have questions about silver, the significance of silver. And if you are looking to obtain it, there's really good websites that I use. I use Scottsdale Mint when I want to get like some nicer stuff, particularly the 10-ounce stacker bars. I really like these. Really nice means of getting some silver. That's just personally what I do. There are Facebook groups. Got to be a little careful. Go through a vetting process. Purchasing through people who have a proven track record. But if you want clear peace of mind, go through a company. I'm not paid by any of these companies. This is just from personal experience. I've used Scottsdale Mint. I've used SD Bullion. I've used JM Bullion. I haven't used AP Mex, but from what I can gather, they're a pretty good site. There's like Gainesville Coins or something. There's a really good dealers where you can still get physical silver from right now. Present it to the Lord. See what he's telling you. If he's giving you a confirmation on silver. And if you're seeing this video after having questions about silver, then pray about it, because this could be the confirmation that God's trying to speak to you about this and the significance of it. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all be blessed. I'm super excited. Things are happening. There's been a war in the spirit that we've already won, and we just get to be here in expectance, and we get to watch this play out in the natural. And be encouraged right now. Walk closely with the Lord. You have nothing to fear. He takes care of us. He takes care of us daily. And he wants to bless you. So act out in faith, because our Father takes notice when we act in faith. All right, y'all. Be blessed.